Hello, everyone. The stats for Calgary for June are out, and let's just take a gander through them all. My name's Chris Lafratta. Do reach out if you're looking to move in or around Calgary. And here we are. So sales in June were down 13% from last year, and that's mostly because the affordability is suffering a bit. With the prices going up, it's getting harder for people to afford homes under that $700,000 mark. So all the rich people from Ontario and BC are moving here, and it's making it harder for people to get into that first home, starter home type of thing. So here, sales down 12.8% year over year. New listings down 3.6%. Residential price total was up 8.5%, and inventory up 9.2%. And continuing on our trend, we've seen more affordable segments of the market. The apartment style condos and the townhouses go up the most, and this month is no different. So apartment style condos up 17.5% year over year. Row houses up 16.9% year over year. Months of supply up 25.2%. So it's not as hot as it was a few months ago, generally. But if you're looking at anything that would be considered affordable, it is still quite hard to get. Now, looking at the different areas of Calgary, again, keeping with our trend that we've had for the past year, the East has gone up the most in price year over year, 17.7% year over year. And that generally has been the region where Calgarians wouldn't want to live. It's been the most stigmatized area. So Dover, Forest Lawn, those sorts of areas that people have shied away from generally. Northeast is a runner-up, up 14.2% year over year. And then a lot of the other outlying areas, north, northwest, west, south, and southeast, going up approximately 9% year over year. City center only going up 3.8%. So a lot of people are wanting to get away from the city center. With so many people working from home, you don't need to be downtown, and it's already quite expensive there. So it's time for the other properties in other areas to catch up in value. And here is our months of supply and price changes graph. So again, pretty simple stuff here. Our year over year benchmark price change is the red line here. So we've come down a little bit on the rate of increase. So we're still going up. That's not changing as of yet. Our trended months of supply has stabilized a little bit here down at the bottom. That's the green line. The blue line is the months of supply. It's much more erratic than the trended months of supply. So with a little bit more supply, price increases come down a little bit as per usual, but we're still seeing a lot of action here in Calgary. And now let's look at the communities outside of Calgary. All right, so looking at the regions outside of Calgary, we have, strangely enough, Strathmore coming up with the highest year over year price increase of 12.6% year over year. And then Airdrie with 10.7%. Canmore at 9.4%, but we don't really talk about Canmore because that's a totally different ballgame. Cochrane up 8.8%. Okotoks only up 6.9%. High River up 7.4%. And Chestermere only up 5.7%. Now that's because the prices in Chestermere are already quite high. And keep in mind, this generally doesn't include new build sales. New build sales are usually not on the MLS, so you're not going to see those numbers reflected in here. So even though we have a ton of new build sales in Okotoks, Chestermere, Airdrie, that typically is not reflected in the MLS data. Airdrie. We're up 9% year over year. Here's our monthly sales comparison going back 10 years. That's our 10-year average, the blue line there. So we're above the 10-year average, by maybe 15%, and more like 20%. So we're doing well, and we're seeing a lot more of the row and apartment style condos in the mix here compared to, say, 10 years ago or even 5 years ago. New listings up 11.2% year to date, 9.8% year over year. And our price range, if you look, the light blue numbers here are 2023, dark blue is 2024. It's higher. So it's harder to get those affordable homes. You actually could get a few in the 300s, in the 200s. Last year, not so much now, not so much. Looking at Cochrane. So again, our 10-year average is the blue line here. And I would say probably 10% above the 10-year average there, 10 to 15%. Don't have the actual number on it. Sales up 7.5% year over year, 6.8% year to date. New listings up 3.4% year to date, 9.2% year over year. So seeing some more supply. And our inventory is up 2.1% year over year. Total residential price up 8.6%. And again, we're seeing fewer options in the lower price ranges here. Chestermere. So our 10-year average is the blue line here. And again, we're healthily above that. And if you look at the mix, that orange part, that's our townhouses, a lot more of them. But townhouses and just townhouses. So the semi-detached, also a lot more of them than in the past. Back from 2020 and earlier, there were very few of those in the mix. New listings up 21% year to date, but actually down year over year. Again, it's a small sample size, so you can get some weird data coming out of that. Total residential benchmark price up 4.5% year over year. And our inventory is up year over year 29.2%, and months of supply up 41%. So a lot more supply in Chestermere. But I mean, it's a small town, small sample size. You can get some weird swings in the data there. Now looking at the residential sales by price range. So this year, very few, hardly any sales in June under 400,000. We got the dark blue this year. So last year you had a few. So just a few, probably cheap condos there, but much more higher end properties selling now. Okotoks, we're pretty much dead on the 10-year average there. Sales down year over year 17.2% and up year to date 4%. Now again, a really small sample size, so you can get some strange numbers, some strange fluctuations there. New listings up 2.4% year over year. Total residential price up only 5.4%. But again, that's keeping in mind that a lot of the new builds are not going to be listed. That they're going to be straight from the builder, and you won't see those prices reflected. Inventory up 35% year over year. Months supply up 63.1% year over year. So that's coming off a very small number. That's why it's up so much. It's still very much a seller's market in Okotoks. Looking at the residential sales by price range, very hard to get something under 400,000 in Okotoks. And last year, at least you could get some. Under 300,000, you're pretty much out of luck. High River. So we're slightly above the 10-year average here, probably 10%. Sales up 6.7% year over year. New listings down. Total residential benchmark price up 6.2%. Inventory is down significantly. And months supply very low, under 1%. So High River is very, very much a seller's market. Very limited supply. Strathmore. We're actually below the 10-year average here for sales. But again, with a small sample size like that, you can get some strange numbers. New listings are down 18.6% year over year. Total residential benchmark price up 9.9% year over year. Month supply very low, 1.31, down year over year by 2.3%. Inventory also very low, down 30.9% year over year. And our residential sales by price range, we're seeing a lot more higher end sales in Strathmore. And not as many, certainly under 300,000. And yeah, Strathmore's still affordable, but buy there while you can. Canmore, I'm really not going to talk about. I don't touch it, too far away. Now let's look at what our interest rates are looking at, because they're not getting much better. All right, so looking at the Canadian 5-year bond, we're at 3.536% today, July 2nd. And that's not actually very good. So we're actually pretty much in line where we were 3 months ago. Let's look at 1 full year ago. So we're doing slightly better than a year ago, but in December we were down around 3.2. So that dictates the fixed rate mortgage rates. So we're not seeing many better rates for the fixed as of this moment. So I'm sure you heard that the Bank of Canada cut its key interest rate by 25 basis points in June. And if you're wondering what that's going to do to the mortgage market, with the real estate market, it's basically going to do nothing for the time being. It's purely sentiment, because that's a very, very small decrease, and no one's getting variable rate mortgages right now because they're so much more expensive than fixed rates. The mortgage rates in Canada, this is from ratehub.ca. Looking at our 5-year variable, which very few people are getting because it's more expensive, we're in the mid sixes, generally speaking. Unless you have some deal which you can get 5.7%, we're in the sixes. That's expensive. 5-year fix, we're in around the 5% mark. And the 3-year fix, some people are hoping that rates will be better in 3 years. Who knows? I mean, nobody knows. They're a little bit higher. 5.3, 5.5, in that sort of a range. So mortgage rates are not very good right now. Headed toward a mortgage cliff. This is from Loans Canada. So during the pandemic, people could get very low interest rates, and some people locked in at 1.5, 1.6, and they're going to have to renew, and they're going to have to renew pretty soon. So we're coming up on that. So it's not going to be the Great Depression, but it will be less disposable income for a lot of people. And with those interest rates now set in stone, now locked in, we're expecting, higher for longer. At least that's what we've been seeing. I'd be really surprised if we see really marked real estate price increases going forward in Canada. A lot of people are coming to Calgary just for affordability, and that's really being eaten up, but still they have to go somewhere. So this mortgage renewal cliff is an issue, especially if you hadn't planned for it. Anywho, thanks so much. Reach out if you're moving in around Calgary. Chris Lafratta. My number is above.